Hi, ladies. I'd like to continue with the Torah Devorah series. This being the sixth year. Hopefully, we'll finish up the first Middot today. Mikel Pamocha. I just want to begin though with a thought on this Maimer Chazal about Kol Mavir al Midosov Ma'avirin al Kol Psha'ov, a person who gives in, a person who's Mavater, a person who doesn't stand up and not makbid for everything exactly as the din dictates, but is willing to give in to other people. So Hashem is willing to give in to him for him and overlook that person's averos. So there's just an important element of this that has to come into play. It has to be brought up for a person to be able to be mavir on their midos, and that's the idea of bitachon, the idea of trusting in Hashem. Even when it comes to small benan l'chaveru interactions, if I'm inconvenienced in some way, or if I'm slighted in some way, or if I'm hurt in some way, or if I'm really frustrated or inconvenienced in some way, I do have to recognize that that's coming from Hashem. Chazal tell us Yisurim, even small little things. A person puts their hand in a pocket, like we've said a lot of times, and pulls out the wrong coin. That's a frustration. That's Yisurim. That's something that's So how many times do we face Yisurim at the hands of other people? Somebody else does something that's frustrating to me. Somebody else, just even the person standing on line in front of me taking more time than they should. That's also an instance of being mafir under mitos. That's also a time that a person can say to themselves, like, look, Hashem is running the world. A very famous idea from Rav Nachman, but it's pashut. It's Aleph Beis Kol Ikuv L'Tova. Anything that pushes something off, anything that's like a delay, is always for the best. But you don't need Rav Nachman. It's in the Shulchan Aruch. Anything that happens, a person has to say Kol Ma'adav Rachman L'Tava. But everything is for the best. And that's also it's an important ingredient to be maver on our midos, for a person to be able to say, like, it's not this person that's inconveniencing me. It's really not. It may look that way, but a lot of things look that way in this world. That's what all Haza is about. Things looking one way and us trying to see through it and see it for what they really are. Okay, let's just go on. We continued talking about the idea that Hashem has the ability, any moment He wants to, He could take away from us the ability to live, take away our koach, take away our existence, and by rights, so to speak, He should, because He sees all the averos that we do. He knows all the terrible things that we do all the time, and yet He doesn't do it. And then he went on, Rosh Cordero, to say, and don't say that He can't withhold this from us. Right? We entered into somewhat of a philosophical discussion that the way that Hashem set up the universe and Bechira and that. So, but he's saying here, practically speaking, don't think that Hashem doesn't have the ability to withhold His good, so to speak, in that way, because we do see that He did it. We see when it came to Yeravam. Yeravam, we know, was the king of the 10 tribes, the Asar Shvatim, the Malchei Yisrael. As opposed to Malchei Yehuda, Rechavam, who was Shlomo Melech's son, who was in Yehuda, and Yeravam was the one who split the kingdom really in two, and the northern kingdom accepted Yeravam as the king, and because he did not want people to go down to Yerushalayim in order to be Ola Regel, because he thought if they would go to be Ola Regel, then they would see their Rechavam sitting as the king, so he set up these golden calves. He didn't let people be Ola Regel. He set up these golden calves in Beis El, and one other place where else, and basically, he did terrible things. He caused Klal Yisrael to sin extensively in Beis El and in Dan. Basically the two ends of the territory in the north. Anyway, so at one point, the Navi comes to speak to Yeravam. And he tells Yeravam that your mizbechos, your altars are going to be rent asunder. They're going to be torn apart in front of you. And Hashem is going to exact retribution from you. And Yeravam, and the Chazal tell us that it was Ido Hanavi who was here. Ido is what I'm saying. And the Psukim say this is all in Melachim Aleph. Towards the Perek Yud Beis and Perek Yud Gimel. The pasuk says that Yeravam stretched out his hand in order to reach the Navi, in order to reach Ido and arrest him, and Hashem stopped him right there. Hashem stopped his hand just like that, and he wasn't able to move. And then the mizbeach ripped in half, and all the ashes spilled out. And when we davened Hashem, then he was able to move again. Anyway, the idea is that you see that Hashem is able to do this. Hashem is able to withdraw His shefa from a person and not allow a person to function the way that they normally would. Okay. And with all this, that Hashem has the ability to withhold this shefa, to withhold this force, this energy that He gives us, Yeah, v'haya lo lomar, and he should say, "Kivan sha'ata chota negdi techteh b'shalcha lo b'shali." Since you're sinning against me, go sin on your own dime, right? Go sin on your money, on your shefa, what you're infusing into yourself. Don't take what I'm giving you and use it against me. Lo mitnei zeh mana tuva min ha'adam. But he doesn't do this. Elasovel elbon, he tolerates it. It's shameful. It's a shameful thing that he tolerates. V'shpia hakoach v'hetiv la'adam tuva. When he continuously gives to a person, gives him goodness and gives him shefa. Hareza elbon v'savlonos mashalo yeshua. This is a level of tolerance, a level of shame. Again, it's a shameful thing. Mashalo yeshua, you can't imagine. You can't imagine the tolerance of such an entity to, for so long, so many times, so consistently and constantly be giving and giving and giving, and so often to be disappointed with it and have it used against him. Right? It's an incredible amount of patience. He quotes here from certain Kabbalistic sources where Hashem is referred to by the angels in Shemayim as Melech Aluv, the shamed king. And that's what this is referring to. This Middot of Mikel Kamocha, that Hashem exists in a state of again, you can't say of shame because of the amount that He gives us and what we use it against Him and twist it against Him as so many people, so often, so consistently, and He keeps on giving and giving and giving. V'hainu omrim, and that's what we say, Mikel Kamocha, who is like you, Hashem? Ata el bal chesed hametiv, you are the God, Kel being the God of Chesed, who gives goodness and kindness. Kel bal koach linokim v'lesof es shelcha, the God who has the ability to withhold this, withdraw it, and take back what's yours. V'im kol zeh ata sovel v'nelav ad yashuv b'shuva, and with all this, you don't do that. You tolerate it, you accept it, and you wait for a person to go ahead and do tshuva. Okay, we'll continue Rav Hashem next time when Rav Moshe Cordovero takes this midah, and like he does with all of them, then turns it around ben adam l'chavero to make it, how could it be that that we are supposed to follow this when it comes to our interacting? Okay, ladies, have a good day. Bye-bye.